Hey, gorgeous ones. How are you?
Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Right away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for real love,
Get up and dance.
when the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown in mine. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching up to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. It's my skin, will fire away. Just today, I won't let this shit in. We are roasted through the barricades and breathing for the sun. That's what we do. I won't let them break me down. I know that there's a place for us. Only a glory in us. Sharpest word will cut me down. I'm gonna stand up, gonna drown the mind. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching up to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. When the sharpest words gonna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown mine. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. This here I come. This is me.
Oh my God, that is such an epic song. I played it today on my Q&A for Soul to Soul, and I just can't get enough of it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring it to my Q&A with you beautiful women today. First, I think I just need to acknowledge that I'm out of breath. Mama needs to get her fit on. Hey, gorgeous Jody, how are you? So listen, such a fitting song for the topic that we're going to talk about. In fact, anything that I talk about always comes back to you. Feeling enough, being enough. And that song is like, look out, because here I come. And this whole conversation is based around, you know, it's for those of you, and this used to be 100% what I used to do, is getting into relationships where you feel like you've got to fix the other person. Or if someone's, you know, wounded, or they've come out of a marriage, or they've come out of a relationship, or they're in a hard place, you're like, yes, let me get into a relationship with this person because they're a they're a project, you know, there's someone that is vulnerable, there's someone that needs me, I'll help them, you know. And I've got a lot of references I could use for this conversation. There's two that are standing out to me that I'll speak into. But really today's conversation, I've written some notes and I want to stay on point because you know I love a good chat. But today, one seckaroo, here we go. So the whole conversation is about, you know, if you really sit for a second and think about your past relationships, because this Q&A is about you, so I want to see your comments, please. Be part of this with me. How much of your time and your energy have you actually given away to the man to try and fix or heal him, while you're actually knowing that deep down you've got your own shit that you need to deal with, but you don't have to focus on that while you're focusing on someone else? How many men that have you attracted in that are projects and only use you to heal themselves, and then next thing you know, they're marrying the next person, and you're just like, hang on a minute, I was holding all this space for you, I was there with you crying on my shoulder, I was there helping you financially, I was there giving you sex on tap, whatever it is, and then suddenly they're like, thank you, peace out, namaste, and then they go to the next person. That's what this conversation is about. I'll never forget, you know, in New York, I dated this guy, and you know, he was a pretty boy, and he had just come out of a marriage, and he had 2 kids. So in my mind, I was like, just come out of a marriage, safe. He's safe because he's still wounded. The second one was he had children. So I was like, oh, I'm sure he's got a really big heart. He's a dad. He's got kids. So I felt really, really safe getting into a relationship with someone who, guess what? On day 1 told me he wasn't ready for anything. I'm laughing at myself because it's so ludicrous that he made it very clear. It's not his fault. It was on me that I literally was like, oh yes, I've got a project. I've got a guy that's feeling very vulnerable. He's licking his wounds. He's got kids. So for me, it was almost like, you know, a man that has dogs or whatever. I was just like, oh, he's a family guy. And I was loving it. Jody said more than a handful, so I didn't have to really identify my own pain. Exactly, Jody. You know where I'm going with this. Jody's in Soul to Soul. Can't believe you're still awake, Queen. It's late in the UK. So he told me who he was on day 1. And then I'm getting the shits when he's getting, you know, messages from his ex-wife, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not a priority. You know, this sucks. I want to be the chosen one. I want to be the priority. Meanwhile, I put myself in that situation, in that dynamic, and I was actually putting myself second. Can you see that for yourself in your life with what you've been doing? Maybe you're someone that goes after married men. It happens. There's a safety net there. Maybe you're someone that gets yourself in love triangles, or you just flat out attract in men that are not available. Before I even move on, I want to see in the comments, I want to hear from you. Put your hand up, give me a like, be part of the conversation. This is certainly not just for me to hear my own voice. This is about you really seeing something for yourself. So I want to hear your voice in the comments. Who can relate to this? I love the queens are talking to each other. You know, where you know that it's never about you in relationships. There should be so many freaking likes and love hearts going on right now, because I know that you are sitting here for a reason in this community. You want to have a soulmate relationship. But if you're really honest, it's never about you. Katie said, I tend to go to men that need fixing. Thanks, Katie. Another soul to soul sister. Hey, gorgeous. Oh my God, who do I think I am, gangster? So this is such a powerful conversation, because we can't be there going, oh, it's the men, they're emotionally unavailable, blah, blah, blah. No, you're in a GPS. You have a radar that has been clocking the guys that need fixing. And it's not a coincidence that this keeps happening. So I want to just break it down for you. Jody said it perfectly before. The reason that you're attracting in men that are emotionally unavailable, that some of them have a drinking problem, some of them have a money problem, maybe they're not motivated, and then you come in as their kind of knightess in the shining armor to be like, it's okay, you know, I'll get the rent, or don't worry, like, I know you're really busy with work, so I'm going to cook all the dinners for you, and I'm going to accommodate you, and I'll work around your calendar. It's just the worst feeling in the world to put ourselves in that situation and then to not be getting back what you're putting in. How much does that suck? There's nothing gratifying about it. And then what's happening is you're doing this over and over again, reaffirming to the universe, oh, I'm not the one that the guys choose. They like me. They're really interested at first. They'll make me a priority at first. And then when the stakes seem to get a bit higher, where there's some real feelings getting involved, they start to lose interest, and then you start trying to work harder and make it work. I'm going to pause again because I want to hear from you. How is this showing up for you? What does it feel like having to work this hard in relationships, having to overcompensate, to overgive, to put all this energy into the guy and then not to be able to get that reciprocated, to still not feel like the priority no matter how hard you are trying, no matter how much effort you are putting in? How does that leave you feeling? How are you feeling right now in this moment, hearing this conversation? I know it's not exactly lighting you up, but I know that there'll be something that's deeply resonating where you're like, you know what, that is me. And it's been me for a long time, to the point that I don't even try and get into relationships anymore because this is how they always turn out. Jody, I always blame the guy for being emotionally unavailable. Thank you, Jody. This is what many of you are doing right now. But I magnetized that to me, hey, Rebecca, by being exactly the same, which is why we attracted each other. Abso-fucking-lutely. We attract who we are. So if you are attracting an emotionally unavailable man, that's because you are not emotionally available. You might be telling yourself you're emotionally available. You might be telling yourself that you're so open and vulnerable and all these things. Sister, you can tell yourself till the cows come home, I want to help you get on the express train to Dreamtown. But first, that requires you getting really honest to go, I'm clearly not doing that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be attracting in these men that aren't showing up for me. It starts with you. My life changed when I made it about me. And I was like, I am not going to be the other woman. I am not going to be the girl in the relationship that completely moves, her whole life around to fit in with the guy. No way. I'm not going to wait for the guy to take the lead. I'm not going to wait for the guy to tell me how he feels. I'm going to check in with how the F I feel. Is this guy bringing something to my life? Is he making me a priority? And the reason that these men are not making you a priority, darling one, is because you're not making yourself a priority in your own life. And it's not just showing up in love, it's showing up everywhere. If you look at your business, maybe you find it really hard to get clients to pay you on time. Maybe you find it hard to get clients full stop. Maybe you're pulling all these extra hours at work. Even during COVID, you're overworking because that's where you're putting your validity, in what you do, not in who you are. So if I go back to my glorious notes that I took, when you're attracting these men that you get to make a project or you have to help or fix or pretty much babysit, we can't keep putting the blame there. We've got to own it and go, wow, this is how you're used to getting loved. You got to work really hard for it. Maybe you were the middle child. Maybe you were the eldest and your mum was really busy. Whichever way you want to skin it, you're not used to having the spotlight on you. So in relationships, you are making it all about the man so that you don't have to be vulnerable. Because vulnerability to you equates to huge risk. Oh my God, if I do that, Lucy, he's going to think I'm really weak. He's going to think I'm a hot mess. He could reject me. No, he'll probably love you because you're actually going to bring in who you really are. And here's the clencher, is that you're complaining to yourself or to your friends that you don't feel seen, you don't feel valued by men or even just by other people in your life. But that's because you don't know how to see you, to validate you, and how to actually truly love you. I don't mean saying the words I love you. I mean deeply feeling your own love and that connection to your magnificence and to that sacred heart space and your womb space for that matter. You're doing love in here very cerebrally. And you'll tell yourself things like, well, I know I'm a really good catch, and I know I'm really smart, and I've got really good friends, and I go on good holidays, well, pre-COVID, holidays in your imagination these days. So I know it's not that there's anything wrong with me. It's just where I live, or it's just the guys. All the good ones are taken. Whatever you're telling yourself right now, I want you to know that you keep putting this same roadblock in your way. And the best thing you can do is go, holy shitballs. I am responsible for who I'm attracting in. So if I'm attracting in guys that are not lighting up my soul, I'm not lighting up my own soul. I'm not taking care of my own needs, and you're outsourcing them and then feeling terribly let down when someone else doesn't follow through for you. And it comes from lack. It also comes from a disbelief that someone can actually support you and that someone can actually love you and hold the space for you, especially when you're vulnerable, especially when you don't have everything together. The energies have been really intense right now. Yesterday was a big day for me. I spent the night vomiting out of the blue. I was obviously purging and releasing. And then the next day I felt really flat, really vulnerable, and I couldn't get my mojo on. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here in the hot mess energy that I'm in. And I said to my husband, sweetheart, I'm feeling really reactive. I'm feeling really irritable. And this is me today. And I just powerfully communicated, this is where I'm at. And I'm not someone to sit down in Schitt's Creek for too long. Schitt's Creek, the show. I love Schitt's Creek. I don't love Shittsville though. Victim Town, Shittsville, it's not fun. But it's about being able to have that level of vulnerability to go, I don't have it all together today. I haven't got my pep in my step. I haven't got my mojo plugged in. And you're going to love me anyway. And that was nothing. I mean, I'm talking, I also said that to my husband, if I'm on my hands and knees, just cry, just saying, oh my God, I'm having a rough day. I'll just be like, I know I've got to take care of myself, but could you offer me some support? Can you hold some space for me? That's what vulnerability is. None of us are perfect. None of us have all of our shit together. I don't know anyone that does. And if they're telling you they do, they're lying. None of us have it all figured out, especially during COVID right now. We are literally walking one foot after the other through the unknown. So more than ever, this conversation is so important that you stop putting the validation of self and your value outside of yourself, and don't tell yourself, well, when I have the soulmate relationship, then I'll be happy, then I'll be complete. When I can get a guy to love me, then I'll be complete. No, even that language is low vibrational. The reframe on that is, I'm going to make myself a priority until I am feeling so lit, so loved up, and I'm going to deal with all the shit that I've got going on beneath the surface. And honestly, I'm saying to you, the best thing you can do is to get a tribe, to get support, because we can't always see our blind spots. And it's the irony that you're flat out trying to help someone else figure out their life when all it's doing is delaying you figuring out yours. The other reason that you are attracting in people that need fixing is because you get to stay in control. You get to, you get to literally have the focus off of you so that you are the person that this man, his energy is sucking off of you. And yeah, he'll take what he can. There are plenty of women that I hear of that are paying their boyfriend's rent. Oh, well, he's just sorting it out. And then it gets to 10 months later. I'm like, you're still paying the rent? Yeah. He didn't get a job. I go, how much has he actually tried? He's not trying. He's all cushy sitting there saying, thank you very much. I'm just sitting over here gold digging. I've got my woman doing it. Why would I need to do anything? And then you're there going, oh my God, it's not fair. But you called that in because you're used to being relied upon, and it makes you feel of value. So this is a paradigm that I'm speaking into that is the old paradigm. It certainly lives in the 3D consciousness. And right now, if you haven't noticed, the entire planet is up leveling. We've got Black Lives Matter happening. We've got COVID that's now had a huge resurgence, definitely in parts of Europe, definitely over here in California where I live. Thankfully, it's giving New York a break, and I hope it stays that way. But we're just going through these different waves, these different levels of the unknown. Just as we thought we were coming out of it, boom, we're back in it again. And so I bring this into the conversation to say that more than ever, This is about looking at the way that you've been showing up in your life. What are you accepting? What are you tolerating? You are so fucking amazing, and there is no way that you need to put yourself into any relationship or any circumstance where you have to overcompensate and overgive to make love work for you. But the reason you're doing that is because deep, deep down, you grew up in this paradigm where you had to work really hard to be seen. You had to work really hard to get love in your family dynamic. Not because your parents didn't love you, but just because of the way that it was set up. Depending on, there's a whole different myriad of ways it could have been. Maybe dad was absent, maybe dad was busy, maybe mum had 3 kids and she was just juggling and doing her best. Maybe she had depression, maybe you lost both parents, maybe you lost one parent. There are so many different scenarios. Maybe you had 2 parents that were actually present, but they weren't emotionally there for you. So you had to work really hard to get mum's attention because she was so busy giving it to dad. And they were a really happy couple. So now in your adult life, you're like, I just don't get it. I come from a good family, but I can't hold a relationship together to fucking save myself. Well, darling, it's because it goes deep down to that little girl inside of you. And it doesn't matter if you have an amazing relationship with your parents today in 2020. It doesn't. It's awesome. But it doesn't. That little girl doesn't know that. She's the one that's put all these bodyguards around you since she was about 3, where she didn't feel safe to be all of who she is. And that little girl is running your life right now. She's running your relationships. She's running your bank account. She's running the way that you show up in the world. And we know that our little girl, well, I can tell you she's absolutely running your life, but the way that it transpires and unfolds is that you're in your masculine, which is the control, which is that I'm going to make it happen. I'm someone that I'll make anything happen. And I used to say that. I used to think that was powerful. I'm going to make this happen. It's not powerful. It's coming from push energy. It's coming from I've got this energy. When in actual fact, it's about cultivating and establishing a relationship with the divine and with your own divinity and with your own feminine, which lives down in the lower chakras. Many of you are living from here up. And you look amazing and you sound amazing when you speak, very convincing, and you've got the great CV, but you're only here down. And where you need to be is from the throat chakra in the heart and then all the way down to your womb space, into your creatrix energy. And when you embody your own divinity, your own power, your own self-expression, your own worth and value, and love of self for everything that you are and everything that you're not, and you accept yourself on every level, there is no way in hell you'll attract in a fractured relationship. You won't attract a codependent relationship. You won't attract in some man that's just going to suck you dry and be an energy vampire. You won't attract in these emotionally unavailable guys. And you won't be able to be the rescuer because you're going to have set up these really healthy boundaries. And you're going to know what it's like to prioritize yourself. And that's what I'm teaching my queens. I don't teach you how to get into a relationship and here's what you say and here's what your profile's got to be and here's what you got to look like and here's the best outfit. None of that. Because you've already been trying that and it doesn't work. I tried that and it didn't work. And I was like, I just don't get it. And I truly was saying, it's just Sydney where I live. It's just the guys. It's just my stage of life. It's not me. I'm great. How wrong I was. It was absolutely me. Because I didn't believe that I was soulmate material. I didn't believe that I was any good at love. And I thought I was too much of a free spirit. And so I remember this very distinct. It wasn't a relationship, it was more of a long-term fling. We really got on very well. But this guy was so lost. And when I look back on it, it was when I was going through a massive dark night of the soul and I'd left the corporate world and I was finding my way as well. So that's how we found each other, where we were both kind of clinging to the free spirit energy and, we thought it was pretty cool just to catch up and have fun and go and see gigs and, there was great chemistry and all of that stuff. And we did like each other. It wasn't bad. But he wasn't committing. And I was terrified of commitment. So I was like, oh, this suits me. It suits me. Well, it didn't suit me at all. It didn't make me feel good. And it just confirmed to me that I'm not someone that men commit to. Can you see that for yourself? And then and we really believe it. We're like, no, that's just how it is. And then you look at your friends and then you compare yourself and then you go right down to shit's village. Victim town, the whole works. And then before you know it, you've talked yourself out of a soulmate relationship. And then even worse, you've talked yourself out of having a family because you're like, well, I can't even have a relationship, let alone a family. So I'm just going to can that dream. Please don't do that. You're just in the wrong story. You're in the wrong vibration and you're not in a soulmate relationship with your majesty. You haven't prioritized yourself. You haven't deemed yourself as worthy to actually take up space and to be unapologetically you and to ask for what you want and then expect to have it. That's the difference. There's no certainty in you. You're relying on your looks and it's not enough. Please take that in. Don't rely on your looks. Don't rely on your charm. That will bring in a guy that's charming who has good looks with no depth and no intention of committing. You haven't stopped to make it about you. You are in the overgiving, people-pleasing paradigm. Then you're sitting there saying, I feel really left behind. I'm putting myself out there dating. I'm doing all these things, but still I can't get love to work for me. And you are deeming yourself as unworthy. You're constantly questioning yourself, which is adding to the anxiety that you feel. It's not good for your egg quality for you to stress like this. Not at all. The best thing you can do for your egg quality and for your fertility is to feel fucking amazing in your skin and in who you are. We put ourselves where we are in our life. And you've just been operating out of the wrong paradigm. And it's like eating shit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've got to say, how much longer are you willing to do that to yourself? No one's doing anything to you. It's not the men. There are billions of amazing, eligible soulmates that can't wait to meet you. And they are flying around your vortex waiting for you to get your shit together. Really great vision, right? You got to learn how to be your own soulmate first. This is costing you time. It's costing you fertility, right? It's costing you your egg quality, whether you're going to be a mum or not, the way that you want to have it. Yes, we can do a backup plan, but that costs a fortune as well. So I really want to ask you, how much longer are you going to put yourself through these really shitty hoops, confirming to yourself over and over again, love doesn't work for me? And then you can cling to COVID and go, well, look, it's COVID. It's hard for me to date right now. Not true. Got plenty of women meeting soulmates right now in my programs during COVID. Jody said, I relied on my looks for years and how I performed on dates. So unworthy. Yes, major scarcity. And it's very much about leading with that public persona and presenting ourselves a certain way. And I did that beautifully. I was like, I know how to adapt. I know what men want. I know how to adapt to this person and that person. And that's great if you're going for an audition. It doesn't work when it comes to love. The only currency that works when it comes to love is to bring in all of who you are. And if that guy doesn't like it, next, honk from the universe. Amen. Stop caring about what he thinks and start giving a shit about what you think and about what you want and make it a non-negotiable. I'm here to help those of you that are ready to deal with this because it doesn't have to be like this. And I used to, here's the last thing I want to say to you is you're getting something. There's something you're feeding off that's making you feel good about attracting men that you've got to rescue. You're kind of like, I'm really good at helping guys. Sorry, turn off my Facebook on the other account. One sec. It's just beeping through. Yeah, there's something, I say this to women that are like, I've just got a real anxiety problem. I said, yeah, you're also addicted to anxiety because when you're worrying about stuff, you feel like, well, at least I'm working hard with my worry. It sounds ironic, but it's true. So I want you to now start questioning exactly how your life is right now and go, is this what I want for myself? And if it's not, then don't sit there complaining about it and playing the world's smallest violin, which I often say. No, fuck that. Get into action. The best thing you can do, and I say this on my masterclass, is to get support from someone that's walked the path, who's done the heavy lifting, who's figured it out. who's where you want to be. And yes, for many of you, that will be me. But if it's someone else you're following, go do that, because at the end of the day, you know, you've got to resonate with your mentor. You've got to go, you know what? I vibe with this person. She is living and breathing, you know, all the things that I want to step into. And I have a gorgeous girl, Kate Taylor. She's got a testimonial in here. And she said, you know, Lucy, for over a year, I was so triggered by you. I didn't even want to keep watching your lives because you were representing what I wanted and I didn't know how to have it. And I found it hard to watch. Annette said, hey, gorgeous. I did all that, was my whole self, got married, had a kid, and he couldn't remain in the marriage. Now I have trust issues. Hey, beautiful one, you have so much magic inside your soul. And darling, don't look at it as a failed marriage, okay? You've got this beautiful kid, okay? That wasn't a coincidence, wasn't a mistake. It's a gift. But you had trust issues before the marriage. I'm just going to drop that truth bomb right there. This goes back to your own 3-year-old who didn't feel worthy of being held and seen and supported the way that you want. Otherwise, you wouldn't have attracted this in. And even though you said, I was my whole self, I don't know the ins and outs of this marriage, but there's still, what I'm feeling right now is there is still more that you need to accept within yourself. Because you're a freaking superstar, very talented too. And you deserve to have love. So please, I'm so glad you're here. Please don't settle for your trust issues, okay? It's not failure. It is fucking epic what happened, because it's part of your path to go, wow, now I can see really clearly the parts of myself that need to be healed. How can I open and expand my heart in the face of where I am right now? Instead of making this experience have you close your heart and sit there and hang up love and just go, oh, I've got trust issues now. That's easy. Don't opt out on yourself. Don't opt out on love. Don't opt out on showing your kid what a beautiful relationship looks like. All you got to do is stay on the journey, stay on the path to continue doing what it's going to take to open your heart, darling. It's no surprise that you're an actor, okay? Actors, hello, we want to try and get to the bottom of who we are. We try to understand ourselves. It's no coincidence that I was an actor. I had a lot of self-expression that I needed to activate. I need to learn how to take up space. I need to learn how to be seen and celebrated. And now I've taken a break from that while I'm doing this deep work, but I know that I will be getting back to that, and I can't wait because I freaking love it. But I don't need a leading lady role. I don't need an Oscar to be valued right now. I know that I'm on purpose right now, and if I win an Oscar, it'll just be like, hey, this is a microphone, but I don't need that. Whereas when I first started out acting, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get an Oscar and I need to be seen. Now I don't feel that. I'm coming in to be of service, to shine my light, to show women what's possible. Because when we have other women that are showing us and guiding us and lighting the way for us, that's all we need. Us women, we're so freaking powerful. We're so resilient and we're change makers. So there's no coincidence with every single one of you that watch this live. Hear this via me from the divine that you're exactly where you're meant to be right now. And whatever your stories are that you've accumulated up until now, whatever relationships haven't worked out for you up until now, it doesn't have to continue that way. Don't keep sucking eggs. Stop, get the egg, look at it, chuck it out, and go to a different farm with different chickens. Feel me? Don't keep going back to the same fucking chickens. Of course you're going to get the same eggs and they're going to suck. Okay? So I am here. If you haven't watched my masterclass, go watch my masterclass. And then if you're ready to rise, you're ready to rise like a phoenix and go, fuck this, in 2020, it's my year. Whether there's COVID or all this stuff going on, I am here to claim my golden bullion, my treasures, my riches, my everything, your dreams and your desires. They're here for the taking. Do not contract because of these uncertain and uncomfortable times that we're in. You found me, you found this community, and what I do every day is I go, how can I expand today in the face of whatever life is throwing me? What can I transmute that's down in my lower self and turn it into gold? We need as many women that are light warrior goddesses on the planet right now, and I'm nominating you to step up. If I didn't step up in my life and get out of my own bullshit and out of my own victimhood and out of, oh, well, love doesn't happen for me, then I wouldn't be able to be here to help women change their lives. It's a much bigger conversation than just attracting in a guy that you need to help. The person that needs your attention and your healing is you. And until you make that the priority, you're going to keep attracting in shitty relationships. Okay? I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Please expand. You are not your past. If you have relationships that didn't work out, you are not a failure, and you do not suck at relationships. Those experiences are part of what is giving you more depth, more experience in life. And it's a choice for you to turn that into magic, to turn that into gold. So do not opt out with saying, I don't trust men. Do not opt out and say, well, I wouldn't even trust a program to help me because nothing ever works for me. Victimhood. There are many women right now that's their lives have literally changed stratospheres because they chose themselves for the first time in their life. And many of them are attracting in soulmates. And I say, why not you? Mwah. Thank you for being here with me. And on the replay, post your comments and I'll make sure I get back to you. I'll see you next week.